Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in our community. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pumphouse Coffee Roasters, the Lotus Travel Company, Hopportunities Self-Serve Beer Hall, and the Bishop's Water Company. Hello, and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. My name is Mike Jones, hanging out at Media Zone in Palm Beach County, Florida. Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today, buddy?
Always a pleasure to see you, especially on this beautiful day.
Sunny blue skies out there. It's almost pretty much summer now, right? Officially?
Definitely, and it looked like an aquarium today going over the Blue Heron Bridge, so...
And I think we have a special guest in the studio with us today, don't we?
Always. Fortunately, today we got Tyler from Noble-Tree. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about Noble-Tree and how you guys got started?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Tyler Denoff. I was born and raised here in Palm Beach County. I've been a lifelong golfer and done woodworking since I was very young. And as you know, somebody who did custom furniture for a living, I wanted to really combine my passion of golf with my occupation, and so had this idea to create hand-carved golf furniture featuring topographically accurate depictions of golf holes from anywhere around the world into wall-hanging art pieces.
So cool,
right?
And furniture pieces, and we also make hand-carved putters, which there are a couple on the table in front of you too. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of the company, and have a bunch of different pieces and different angles that we like to attack and do custom work.
I mean, our studio is pimped out right now.
I was
Look
gonna
at
say
this
the same
piece. Look
thing.
at this artwork, man. It's incredible.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And so, like, just in browsing your work, like, we just appreciate attention to detail. And when you were telling us the story about how each one of those little notches is like matching New York City, Manhattan, or whatever, the actual street layout, it shows, you know. So
Yeah, why don't you tell the story about that?
Yeah, so the piece behind me, it's hole number 18 from a course called Bethpage Black, which is on Long Island. It's a course that's hosted multiple major championships, most recently the PGA Championship. And it's, well known for its proximity to New York City. When I lived in New York, I was fortunate enough to play at Bethpage, not the black course because it's very difficult. I would not have done well there. But I played the red course, and this black course is very famous, and this 18th hole is an iconic hole. So what I did with this design, it's carved out of black walnut, and all of the dots that you see, they represent the Manhattan street grid. So it's an accurate representation of the street grid in Manhattan. And where the fairway is located is the approximate location of where Central Park is in Manhattan.
So cool.
And so each of the squares that you see represent one street block, and there's approximately like 22,000 individual dimples, and they were all carved by hand to make up the street grid. So a little bit OCD on my part, but
You got carpal tunnel after that or what?
Yeah, I had to do it in a couple different sessions, so I didn't go crazy.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and the bunkers are carved out of maple, and it's a hard maple that's then bleached, so it's extra white that adds contrast to the black finish. And I finished it in like a jet black stain, just kind of to accentuate the feel of the Bethpage Black.
It's incredible. Let's talk about this piece.
So this piece in front of us, it's actually a course in Fort Lauderdale, so a little closer to home. It's called Coral Ridge. It's a private country club, and I kind of just was drawn to this double hole feature with the par 4 and the par 3 together around this lake. So it's a really unique shaped lake, and I featured a colored blue glass with a backing of walnut, so you can still see the wood grain through the lake, but it has like that nice kind of underwater feel to it. And then this carving of the rough is more of like a grassy style carving that's finished with a white oil to really let it pop against the natural walnut that's carved in. And then you can see the greens are a little bit lighter color, so those are just lightly bleached to just add a little bit of contrast and give a different color from the bunkers as well.
And the rough, God bless you, because that was all handcrafted as well.
Yeah, that's another one. I didn't count those like I did with the piece behind me, but it's probably close to 10,000 or so little slashes done by hand. So yeah,
that's incredible. And really, how did Noble-Tree get started? The logo and the business itself.
Well, really, it all started because I have a 2.5-year-old son, and when my son was born, my wife stopped working, so I went back to work at a restaurant. I worked in hospitality my whole life, and so as I was working in the restaurant, I was like, man, I really don't want to be here. Like, I want to be doing something with my hands, and I didn't have time to play golf, so I started researching golf architecture and kind of went down a rabbit hole, nerding out, learning about the golden age of architecture and stuff like that, and that kind of put in my head this thing of like, man, I've never seen anybody really do like creative furniture work involving golf holes. A lot of the golf furniture you used to see would just be like a couple golf clubs welded together with like a glass top that you'd see in like your grandpa's den, you know? And so there was nothing that was really like artistic and creative. So I had this idea and just started carving a couple samples, and it slowly evolved into this business that my wife and I are now run. And then the putters, I started doing putters about 10 years ago, and I lived in New York, but I never really got it right for a while because I couldn't get the proper weight and they were not really as durable as I wanted. So after a while, I learned that I could impregnate the wood with a resin that would harden the wood. And then I found these tungsten weights that would allow me to bring the weight up to about 400 grams, which is on the heavy side for a modern putter. Um, and so once I got that right, I developed the blade style, which is it's called an answer style blade, which is, I don't want to get too nerdy with the putter talk, but it's a very, very famous putter design that was developed by Ping back in the 60s that basically every modern blade putter is kind of modeled after. And it distributes the weight on the toe and heel to help it from deflecting when you hit the ball. So it keeps it nice and stable. So
Modern age Scotty Cameron over here, Mike.
Don't worry, I'll still 4-putt, so don't worry about that.
You and me
guys.
both. Yeah. I'm right there with you. Just because I make them doesn't mean I'm very good at golf.
Correct. It's like the aerated course, you just the standard 2 and
Yeah.
just pick up.
Well, and it's like what's so cool about this is it would be a fabulous gift for someone who gets like their first hole in one or like nails their first bogey or just has like a memorable moment, right?
Exactly.
Like you're out there with a buddy and he gets a hole in one. Like how better way to commemorate that forever than to be like, yeah, this is the hole. And it's a good story after that.
And I can see these just sitting in the lobby of a country club or something prestigious like that. Right when you walk in, it is a piece of art. So art galleries, everything. I think these are really cool and unique, and I appreciate the whole you taking what you're really good at and your passion and making it a business.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, like I was telling you before, we also do larger furniture pieces as well. We can do anything from executive desks for a home office to dining tables to coffee tables. And we can do something as simple as carving a little bunker complex or green complex into a corner of a desk, or carving an entire hole with complete elevation changes and then putting a glass top on top of that. So the possibilities are really endless, and the level of detail, I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff, so nothing leaves my shop without being absolutely perfect. And if something's wrong and can't be fixed, it just gets started over and done again. So there's no compromise.
So the next time I put 8 strokes on a par 3, I'm expecting you to, as a joke, but it's so cool, man. Like I know we were asking you before the story about like the wood and how it all happens. Would you share sort of like where you source that and how that all works?
Yeah, there's a couple of online sources that I use. Some of the stuff is more highly figured than others. This particular putter here is a redwood burl. So a burl is kind of like a off growth of a tree that is actually a defect in the tree. It's something that the tree is kind of like fighting to it. Say like something, it's like your body fighting an infection. That's what the tree is doing. And so as that grows to fight that intrusion, it creates these crazy patterns inside the wood, which is what gives you these like amazing features in the wood.
It's beautiful.
And so those can then be taken off the tree and sliced up. And so that's what that one is. And then a lot of the other wood is kind of just offcuts from other pieces. I'll find figured pieces that can't be used for something else, and that I just see a natural beauty in, and I really only need a piece that's about 5 inches by 2 inches, and that's what it takes to make a putter. And it's a little more complicated, the process from there on. But yeah, it's really just having an eye for finding like those beautiful pieces that you would not normally see.
And talking about that wood, let's discuss the logo.
Yeah, so the logo, you can see it on my hat here. Um, it's kind of an ode to old school country club logos, similar to like Oakmont Country Club. They use a combination of serif style letters just overlaid onto each other, in a very classic look. So what I did was I took a design of a tree that is native to Florida. It's called a slash pine, and it's all over all of our golf courses all over the place here. And
it's the one that catches my balls.
Yeah, exactly.
That one?
They're the ones that
Sure, yeah.
knock all my balls offline. And so I designed a slash pine to kind of look like the letter T, and then you found a nice slim serif font and overlaid it over the end to, integrate the feel of what we were trying to do with the company with also like paying homage to those old school country club logos.
Well, and it seems that's where a lot of your guidance or your influences come from.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like golf history and golf architecture. So I really respect a lot of the game and where it's come from and where it's going. So I like to pay tribute both in the art pieces and in the putters to all of the designs that have come before me, and really try and represent all of the holes that we carve as accurately as possible. I use a ton of geospatial data and stuff, so when we're doing hand carvings, all of the elevation on larger pieces is I can get all of the contours on the fairways and greens completely accurate to what they are in real life, just using some stuff that I can find online, which is neat. It's fun to be in the internet age.
Well, and there's just some iconic holes in golf, like people, they could tell you like a hole at Augusta or at Sawgrass, like exactly, like I'm thinking of the one in Jacksonville where you have to like go over the water and like, it's a real
17.
make or break type hole, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I would very much imagine that, if you hit a good shot at a special course or a special hole, that it would be, worth it. Let's talk a little bit about, the ordering process, sort of rough pricing.
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
I can be contacted through my website, which is nobletreegolf.com. And then I'm also on Instagram, which it's same handle, Nobletree Golf. And as far as pricing is concerned, every piece is kind of a little different. Excuse me, depending on the complexity. Wall carvings like these started around $1,000 for something this size, and the putters start around $400, and then they can go up there based on the kind of details that you want. With the putters, we can do any kind of custom work that you want. We can engrave club logos, company logos, initials. I can do it on pretty much any part of the putter, on the bottom, on the face, on the back of the putter. So it makes a perfect gift for Father's Day. It makes a perfect gift for Christmas, corporate gifts, like stuff like that. We can really incorporate any design into it. So the level of detail that we can get is really just up to what the client needs. And as far as carved pieces are concerned, like you were talking about before, commemorating like a hole-in-one, we can do a carved piece and do laser etching on the front that lists the name of the course, the hole, the club that you used, all that stuff that you like to have. So when you hang it on the wall, it really lets everybody know that was the day that you got your hole-in-one, which I am still chasing, unfortunately.
I think all of us are.
Yeah. I actually played last week, and a buddy in my group got a hole-in-one on one hop, just bounced it. It was a beautiful shot, and yeah, it was on hole number 16. So, I was very happy for him, but also jealous because it was his second one, and I still don't have mine. So a little sad about that.
Hopefully you didn't bet him on that hole.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my golf game is not up to par to be betting at the moment, unfortunately.
And do you see that you'll have some template pieces that'll be available that are just sort of like some iconic holes, or is everything going to be custom? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, there will be. So I'm working on a couple pieces now that'll do some more famous holes, like you said, from Augusta, and some nice holes from like Pinehurst. And there's a couple cool, more nerdy golf architecture type holes. There's a course called Tobacco Road in North Carolina that is absolutely stunning. It's this designer named Mike Strantz, who unfortunately passed away a while ago, but he, in his short life, made some unbelievable golf courses. And they're kind of like alien landscapes. And actually, my favorite hole that I've ever seen, but I've never seen it in person, it's called Tara Edie in New Zealand. and it's designed by Tom Doak, who's one of the best living architects today. And it looks like an alien landscape.
Wow.
It's like somebody took green blankets and just like dropped them on Mars. It's the most stunning golf course you've ever seen. So some courses like that, I'll have some holes that I really dedicate some extra time to like perfecting and being able to replicate to a level of detail that, you know, I'm really proud of, and be able to sell those as a special edition.
I know I can speak for Mike, but I appreciate how a running theme that we've seen for a lot of these interviews is people who are really just following their passion.
Yeah, that's kind of the motivation for this whole business. I've built custom furniture for almost 20 years now. I started when I was a teenager, and I really wanted to develop something. I have a 2.5-year-old son, who's the most amazing little man, and I wanted to start a business, something that he could get in the shop and help me out, even if it's something as little as just sanding something, even if it doesn't do anything, you know, just get him a piece of sandpaper, and something that I could teach him a skill that he'd be able to use later in his life, whether he wants to come work with me or not, just something that will, you know, get him in and help him learn some life lessons. And so I'm hoping that this is something that he'll enjoy, and also kind of, you know, it's a little self-motivating to nudge him towards golf too, you know, a little selfishly trying to get him on the golf course a little more. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. Luckily, my wife likes to play golf too, so the whole family, we can all go out to the course together. Yeah.
Well, and that's what we found, you know, throughout the last year and year and a half, is just coming together with family and enjoying it again, and spending time with people who you want to be with. I know that's a running theme that we keep coming back to. So
yeah, absolutely. But my wife helps me with the business. She has an accounting background, and I hate money, so she it's a blessing, because she tax season rolls around and she gets excited to do taxes, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're excited
You're a weirdo.
to do taxes? Yeah, it's crazy. So she handles all the financial part of the business, which is such a huge relief for me, because it can just like put me in the zone and be able to worry about the creative part. And so it really is a family affair, and I couldn't be more blessed with an amazing partner to do it with.
it's really cool.
What was sort of like the switch that you were like, yeah, like you went and bought the .com? Do you remember that day or that moment?
I do. Yeah. It was like I said, when I was working in the restaurant, and there was a particular client that came in that I just had a wonderful conversation with. He's a gentleman that's very well known in Palm Beach. And, you know, we had a good conversation about like developing something that you can be really passionate about. And it kind of just put this spark in me, because I had this idea, and it was, you know, a little before the pandemic. And so the idea floated around. And then when we were all forced to stay home a little bit more, I kind of had a little extra time to dive headfirst into it. And I started building out the website. I have a bit of a graphic design background, so I'm familiar with doing that as well. And yeah, I remember the day that I went to the county office and got the official like paperwork that said like you're now officially a business, and it was like a very, very momentous occasion. It felt very proud to like create something of your own, because I've done small businesses building furniture here and in New York, but nothing kind of on this scale. So yeah, it's something I'm very proud of.
That's so cool. I remember my moment as well.
Yeah. And it's just like one of those things where not everyone should be an entrepreneur, but, you know, companies still need employees. But for the people that have this like inner urge, like who knows what it is like that drove you to do this, but I'd rather be running Media Zone, and you'd rather be doing this for maybe a little less than you could go work for corporate America or do something else now. But in the future, like who knows, you know, maybe one day your son will just be like, take this whole thing over and let it fly.
Yeah, hopefully he'll just become a PGA Tour
or,
pro, and
or
then
just
win a couple tournaments, and then I can retire right away. You know?
So one last thing I got to point out here before we start wrapping it up is the Media Zone broadcast desk.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
So our third business partner, Anthony's a bit of a handyman, engineer, jack of all trades in that world, and we went to Home Depot and we like picked this piece of wood out, cherry oak, and like we whitewashed it, but he called it like pickling. He's like, so we like pickled the desk, and it was so fun, man. Like we literally like nailed in a nail and like took a piece of string and like did the carve for a circle and like all in one go and sanded it down. So I have a huge appreciation for the level of detail. I know people can't see like the side or the back of this piece, but there's like these little interlocking notches that are like stained different colors, and it's really, really impressive, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I've been doing this for a while, and I know that, a lot of people take pride in what they do, but when you've been working for so long in a certain field, you learn that it's really the tiny little things that really people pay attention to. And especially where we live, like we have a very demanding clientele, and they notice these small things. And so you can't just leave one piece of it unfinished. You have to pay as much attention to the back of your piece as you do the front, because if you're going to install it and they see the back and it's all shredded up, they're going to be like, whoa, what happened there? So I appreciate that you notice that, because it's an important part of how I build everything that I do. Is really nothing leaves the shop without every single square centimeter being really gone over with a fine-tooth comb and made sure that everything's perfect. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Attention to detail, and thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony's already, yeah.
The desk was
wonderful,
really, by the way.
He was really proud. And I'm like nervous when you were coming in. I'm like, oh shit, like, are we going to get judged on our table today?
No, it looks great. Yeah, it's fantastic. And really, that's the thing is, it doesn't really matter how fancy you make stuff. It's having the appreciation and having the gratification of doing something yourself. Going back to my son, we built like this tiny little bulldozer kit from Lowe's that, it's just like pieces that are pre-assembled that you nail together, and seeing the joy in his face just from like hammering in these tiny little nails, and just having that satisfaction of like knowing that you made something, even if it's like a little step stool or something like that. Like it's so much nicer that we live in an age where people just like buy stuff and throw it away so quickly. So being able to have that skill to build something yourself, if there's a need in your life that you can fulfill on your own by creating something, I think that's like an amazing trait, and something that we should be teaching, the younger generation, instead of just looking at their phones.
Agreed with that.
More Connects, more Legos.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these things that we grew up with. Yep. Now everyone just has an iPad.
Yeah,
they do like digital Lego buildings, I'm sure. Minecraft or something stupid.
We're a big Lego house.
Yeah, cool. Well, man, I think, if you want to give anyone a shout out, friends, family, people that are helping you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to thank my wife. She's the most amazing woman on the planet. I couldn't do any of this without her, and our incredible son. And also my mother. My mother was a single mother for most of my life and worked 3 jobs, and my work ethic and really everything I owe to her. She was just an incredible woman. So yeah, and also my boss, he helped support me in this as well, this endeavor. We do custom hardwood floors and custom furniture, and the company is called Artisan Hardwood. So if anybody needs some hardwood floors, something like that, you can contact me as well. Yeah, we do beautiful custom work with that as well. Same level of detail.
Do well, but not too well.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I don't want you to leave, so stick around, but you can do your thing too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool to have people support you like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have such an amazing support system that I couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, Tyler, thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me, and I can't wait to show you guys what we're going to do, and can't wait to play a round of golf with you as well.
Hey, yeah. If that's what you call what I do out there.
Cheers, boys.
Gents.
Cheers.
Woo. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast. If you'd like to give back and help our show grow, please learn about ways to give and donate at thepalmbeachpodcast.com.